Yes, welcome back, Adam. Wonderful to see you again.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have big plans for today?
I did. I thought that we did a deal that was pretty good. We did a deal that certainly did not work out that well. I thought maybe we'd work on something that's happening in real time.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, let's do
This
that.
is a new situation for me. It's been less than a week. I purchased a property. It at one point was a triplex. So the home is still laid out that way. There's separate entrances to all the units and things like that. The person who sold it to me gave me a bit of the history, and somebody was running it successfully. The people passed away and somebody else took it over, and they couldn't run it well. So the neighbors convinced them to zone it back to a single family home. So it's laid out as a triplex, zoned as a single family home, and can use quite a bit of repairs. So kind of our game plan is to get it rezoned, get it fixed up, and then to have a triplex.
Okay, so you're gonna go back to the triplex with this unit or this property.
Yeah.
Did the neighbors or the person you bought it from, did they share any details regarding their difficulty managing it? What was causing it, or what their anything specific?
So the person who sold it to me is an older couple, and they run a business similar to like I do, where they fix them up and remodel them. They said that I was talking mostly to the gentleman. All of the other properties that he had, he fixed up and did the remodel already. But with this particular one, when he bought it, somebody moved into it right away, so it needed a renovation. And so they hadn't done much with it. The issues and the zoning happened before he purchased it.
Okay. So
it
became he bought it as a single family?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when he bought it, somebody moved into it right away. The downstairs is all one unit, and it was in nice enough shape that he never really had to do much to it. So somebody moved into it. Time passed. He never really got around to fixing it up. And at this stage, he just doesn't want. He doesn't have a whole team, so he just doesn't want to remodel a whole house again.
Okay.
And he did warn me and let me in on the history, and he explained to me that the neighbors were the ones who convinced the previous owner to zone it to a single family to kind of make things simpler and have less potential for bad tenants. So I had an idea that perhaps the neighbors weren't going to be too happy about it. I didn't tell anybody this, and my brother always gets to work before me because I drop my daughters off at school. Mm-hmm. So the first day when he pulled up, the neighbor came right out of the house and had a confrontation with him immediately. It was like, you're never going to be able to zone this. I'm going to fight you tooth and nail. I won't allow it to happen. So it got off to a really interesting start.
That's interesting. Disgruntled neighbors. It looks like my video froze. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, and I see it froze on my end as well.
Okay. Interesting. This is gonna be a fun one. Sounds like.
Yeah, I am. I'm very interested to see how it goes. When he explained the situation to me, and especially because I really am diving into the whole coaching thing, I'm just like, awesome. This is going to be a new experience, and I'm going to learn how to zone a property. And fortunately, I came into it with that attitude, and it was a really interesting scenario. The neighbor actually knows some people at the town. She called the city on us immediately, which it actually started it off really nice because the city inspector came. We got to know him before we did any work or started anything. We explained what our intentions were, let him know that we're going to go through the proper channels. And even before the day was over, she's certainly not our friend yet, but we're going to We're gonna win her over with kindness. And
Yes.
regardless of what happens, we're gonna fix the house up. Even if it remains a single family home, the neighborhood is gonna be better for it. So it's an interesting task, but it's gonna be a lot of learning. But for whatever control we have, we're gonna do our part to leave everybody feeling better about it.
So if it stays a single family home and you're able to fix it up, would you sell it as a flip then?
That's another thing that is interesting about the house. So it's currently set up as a triplex. There's a family in there in the lowest unit, and they are paying $700 in rent right now, $725 because there's pet rent each month. So, but they're also on month to month. So that would be one of the challenges, because we can fix it up and it will be worth more than it will be worth it to refinance it. But the challenging issue is that their rent would have to drastically change if that's the case. They potentially go ahead.
Would you move them into one of the other units while you're fixing it, or how would that?
Well, the bottom doesn't really need to get touched. We can fix
Oh.
whatever. We can do a couple minor repairs while they're in there, and then they'll be fine just to stay there. And then we'll do the siding, do the windows, fix up the soffit and fascia, and then the two upper units need to be completely remodeled. But that won't have much of an issue with them. The biggest challenge for them is if I can't rezone it and I have to fix the house up and pull a loan to get my money out, but it will be a challenge if that will have to cause their rent to go up if that was the worst case scenario. So a couple things could happen. They're month to month tenants. So worst case scenario, if they can't afford it, I'll have to end their lease, and then or unless they could pay the higher rent, I either got to up their rent, end their lease and get a higher tenant, or sell the property. All of which I'm sure I can get the money back, and I'll be in a better place knowledge-wise.
Okay.
Before I purchased the house, when the previous owner let them know that they were going to try to sell it, they mentioned that they would even like to buy it, but I think they can only get an FHA loan. So it is a potential that I can even just sell the house to them after fixing it up.
Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to fix my camera real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. There's always some technical difficulties. So there's a handful of ways that it can go, but I'm very confident that I'll at the very least be able to get all my money back, and beyond that, I will be far more knowledgeable. Rezoning something is not anywhere near an idea that I had up to this point.
I helped to rezone, kind of. I mostly took a side seat. Some property for the mine. They bought it a couple years ago. It was zoned as ag or residential, and they had it rezoned for mining. And that required a county board hearing where the public had the option to voice concern to the proposed expansion of the mine. And I don't know how much of that would relate to a residential situation and how much of that is specific because it's a giant industry site, and then how in depth and how complicated rezoning a single family residential to a triplex is going to be. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious.
Yeah, from the information that I've gathered so far, it's going to be along similar lines. So they do have to talk to the neighbors and then make sure that the town is that the people in the neighborhood are for that happening. But I'm very confident because it's the worst house on the block. We're going to make the neighborhood better. We're going to have affordable housing and all brand new stuff for them. So there's so many ways that it's going to be better for the neighborhood. And we also have a professionally ran rental business. Certainly, we're not perfect, and even with the best systems in place, sometimes you get bad tenants. But we have a rigorous system with screening criteria. We're coming right in with spending money and fixing the neighborhood up. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to get people on board. And even the people that I've talked to at the county so far, specifically the building inspector, he's all for us succeeding as long as we play by the rules and do the right things.
Is that still LaSalle County?
What is Streeter? I think so. I get a little bit confused because we're in a handful of these different towns now, but I'm pretty sure it's still LaSalle.
It is, yeah. I just looked it up.
So far already, it's been a little bit tricky to get started because obviously speed is of the essence when you're trying to flip the money quickly and to keep the business moving. But there's only so much work we can do because obviously everything's going to get permitted. The city already is very aware of what we're doing and very in our business. And also we need to make sure that whatever work we do before the zoning goes through is not can work for a single family or if it's a triplex.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay. Did you know that the guy who discovered Pluto was from Streeter?
No.
That's a weird fact, but yeah.
That's crazy that you know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I live a lot closer to Streeter than you do, I think. So, yeah, that was way off topic, but it just popped into my head. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Okay. The neighbor is going to be interesting. I'm curious though, why I guess it'd be 2 owners ago, what their difficulties were specifically with managing it as a triplex. Were they just getting poor tenants, or?
Yeah, I think there were some unruly tenants, maybe like drugs or something like that, and they just don't want it in the neighborhood.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And they're an older couple. They don't have much going on, and I'm sure they want to feel safe and feel like they have a voice.
Yeah. Well, that book I just recommended might be helpful in that scenario.
Help. Yeah, for sure. My brother handled it really well. He's not necessarily confrontational, but he's not a pushover either. And he kind of just was like, look, well, I don't want to argue with you, but we're here to do our best and clean the place up and run it nice. And he's like, it comes down to this. It's not up to you. It's like, we're going to go through the proper channels and we'll see how it goes. It's not your decision. And by the time I came, she was already calmed down. The city inspector got there shortly after. We had a long conversation with him, and then I went and introduced myself. And I was just like, hey, my name's Daniel. These are the hours we're going to work. We're going to do our best not to disturb you. And regardless of what happens, the place is going to look nicer than when we got here. So just kind of left it at that, try to get off on the right foot. So then from that point, obviously, the first thing that we need to know is, can we rezone the property? Because that's going to determine a lot of what happens directly after that. So it's so funny that whole process was a huge runaround. I went to town hall. I got the paperwork to do the zoning, and they let you fill it out. In order to fill it out, the owner, which for this case is me, because maybe it's a contractor or whatever, you need the deed, and I just purchased it, but it needs to be recorded at the county. And I knew that you get a deed in the mail, but all this stuff didn't cross my mind right away because I never had to go through this exact process before. So like, you need some paperwork. I'm like, perfect. I actually have everything in my car. I don't know why I still had it in there, but I was like, this is actually working in my favor. So I go to the car, I bring the deed, and they're like, This is not recorded at the county. So I'm like, all right, fine. It was towards the end of the day then. So I'm like, I'm going to do this first thing in the morning. That way I can move the process along. And for some reason, you have to go to Ottawa Circuit Clerk to record it. I'm not really sure how.
Ottawa's the county seat for LaSalle County. And so, yeah, I would imagine that's why.
All right, perfect. Well, you have an idea of it. So the next day I get to work. I'm like, all right, I'm going to knock this out. I drive to Ottawa. They tell me, oh, this is not the original copy. We can't record this. So then I drive to Marseilles because that's where I closed. And I asked the attorney, hey, can I have the original copy? And she's like, no, I mailed that into Ottawa to get it recorded and it's going to get sent to you. And I kind of know all this stuff. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, yeah, it comes in the mail. But like, I just get these papers and I stick them in a filing cabinet. I don't think about what they are. Nobody asked me about the deed or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. Nobody told me. They all keep like, so I went to 3 different towns and I've been driving around for 2 days now.
Yeah.
Like just trying to start this process. And then it turns out I just got to wait till it comes in the mail.
Be patient a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
And the recording at the county, that takes a week at the most, I think, right? Because they have to get the mail, they have to file it, they have to do all that stuff. Okay. So, can I look up the house on Zillow?
Yeah.
So what's the address there?
110 West Morrell Street, Morrell Street, Streeter, Illinois.
And if we want, I can.
Yeah, perfect.
Throw it up here. I really like homes.com. I don't know about you, but
I've never used it before.
Type in. I like to use both Zillow and homes.com. Come on. See, the estimated value is significantly different.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I might be mistaken in this, but I think that they are part of different MLS services, like multiple listing services. And so their data feeds are a little bit different, which is why you see stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Does it still look like this inside?
Yeah, the bottom, that's the lower unit. It essentially looks like that. And then upstairs, I don't know if they're going to have any pictures of that or not, but that was in rough shape. Squirrels keep getting in there and stuff. It's not too bad. We've been in far worse houses, but we got to do fix a couple walls, painting, all new flooring, clean up the cabinets, replace a couple windows.
Okay. Maybe they are on the same. They got the same pictures. They must be the same, unless I got put on both MLS sites. I don't really know how that works.
Yeah, even being a realtor, you think I know a little better, but so the purchase price was $45,000. I seen some triplexes in the area for $140,000. And as a single family home, it looks like it'll actually be worth a little bit more because there's actually 3 separate garages, all heated garages, big unfinished basement. And as a single family home, it's 5 bed, 3 bathroom, 2,000 square foot.
Is it 3 or 4 bath?
I don't really, we didn't go in the, unless there's 2 bathrooms downstairs. That's possible because I didn't spend a lot of time in the downstairs unit because it's occupied and I wasn't really trying to bother.
Wait, 110.
It's almost right off of the main road. Well, I think it's Bloomington or something.
how I 600 block. $700.
Yeah, the other way.
Yeah. It looks like a dead end here. Hang on, let me pull it up again. I went to solds. This is saying a 5-4 as well. Okay.
Yeah, it's possible because we didn't really go through the downstairs unit too much.
All right. I don't know how you comp properties. This is kind of how I learned. Since it's built before like 1910, like technology didn't change too much between 1894 and 1910 is what I've been told when it comes to houses. And so we're gonna do that. Where's our square footage? 1900 square footage. Let's do 1750 to 2000. Bed bath. I don't even know if there's going to be a lot of those. Yeah, that's huge. Try 4.3. Now I have it set to houses, not anything. If I do multifamily, does more come up? Put your townhome. Yeah. And then we'll want sold in the last 6 months at the most, usually. Yeah, it's tough to comp here. And then I was told, don't go across neighborhoods, go further back in time. And maybe, this is going to really, changing the age is going to have more of an effect than 36 months. We'll go to any. And then we might get different data over here.
Yeah, that's good to see because I always go off of the MLS, but not everyone is a realtor, so
yeah,
it's nice seeing you do this. It's essentially the same process for sure, but I feel it's a little bit easier to navigate that, and it's probably just because it's more what I'm used to using. But essentially, I'm doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I don't really know what the backend MLS looks like from a realtor's point of view. I suppose it could come down a little bit in square footage too.
Yeah, because then if you're lower, then you know that you can safely comp that or higher.
Yeah. You just don't want to go too far out of it because the price per square footage formula changes.
The bigger it gets, is less.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on for sale. We want sold. I guess there's nothing for sale in that range either. That's interesting. Does it auto select a so homes.com is not yielding much. They have this cool feature though where you can look at like a crime heat map fire factor. And I don't know how accurate any of this is. I haven't like cross-referenced it against anything. I know it showed like right next to was it Ogden Park in Chicago. Someone sent me a house looking over there, and it was like I've heard that that's like really, really crime-ridden, and it was only showing like a 5 on homes.com. So I'm not on
Trying
Ogden.
to trick people into moving there.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate that is, but it's, I don't know. We take that with a grain of salt. So I'm not seeing anything here. We did get something over here. So when did this sell? Looks like it had been a little bit newer. Not a whole lot though. And this sold 2023. Where's our description? Move-in ready, 4-bed, 3-bath, large closets, 2-car garage, concrete drive. So this is as a single family, it looks like. And it's short a bathroom and short a bedroom, but comparable square footage.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely has had some, it looks like painted.
Yeah.
Looks like the same
Yeah,
paneling.
the floors are in good condition.
Yeah. And this sold for 130, and you paid, so I think with 45 there is plenty of room for a renovation and flip if you have to, and of course to be able to fix it up and get it rented, and then take out some equity with a DSCR loan, get some cash out.
Yeah.
Looked pretty promising to me.
Yeah, I feel good about it. I have 20,000 budgeted for materials and 8 weeks of pay, which is going to be around another 20,000. And I'm very confident that I'm high on both of those things. But like when we talked about underwriting them, we've just been going through house after house, and I can pretty much tell by square footage and what I'm looking at purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really doing it so much itemized as basically we're spending about the same amount on every house. Because it's just a cookie cutter design. Like we do the same floors, do the same siding, and we're doing it consistently. So we're actually getting faster at it, and it's getting a little bit simpler.
Yeah. What do you got to do to be in this $500,000 range?
I think that's just specifically a different neighborhood.
Is it? It's fixed up. I wonder if it's got a bigger lot too. That's
Yeah,
cool.
because it's Streeter, I have such a hard time because I'm just getting used to it. And like some towns, neighborhood to neighborhood is a little bit. Streeter will have like a $60,000 house, and then obviously you see like a $500,000 house. And even some of the, I have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath with a huge lot, and it's only worth $75,000.
Yeah. Yeah, neighborhood. This is a 14-acre lot next to the golf course, it looks like. So that'll do it. It's set out of town just a little bit too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the outskirts of Streeter, I think, are a lot more valuable than the inner city.
Yeah, it's a small town, but it's been having some issues.
It's a job decline and crime and things like that.
Yeah, unfortunately. I
You
don't
never
think
know. Maybe it'll turn around, but I'm not banking on it. This is a rental play. I'm not doing this for appreciation.
Yeah, I think it will. I think, like I've heard I think it will turn around because there's been so some of the guys I work with live in Streeter, and there's like been town hall meetings about hiring extra law enforcement. I guess they only have like 3 officers for the whole town. And there's been some community, I don't know what you call it, like coming together to try and sort the situation out and make a positive change, because there's a lot of farmers in the area, a lot of small, like, good small town folk, and I think they're getting some of the exodus from the suburbs, and the township just might have to take the next step in growth when it comes to municipalities and services to handle that influx of population.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm really happy to hear those things. That's one of the most positive things I heard about the town in a long time. So
Yeah.
I hope as I'm buying some properties out there that it goes that way. I mean, in worst case scenario, have you ever heard of the term like portfolio architecture?
I have not. I'm gonna write that one down. What's that?
It's not about a single property, what it can do, but more each piece serves a function in your overall portfolio. So although some of these properties can be cheaper, we can get higher cash flow, which is just money coming in, which maybe could support like purchasing a property that breaks even, but in 4 years is going to go up large amounts in equity. So you need certain things to get you through right now. You could take some of the money out of this property to keep that one moving, but over time, then you'll get that large equity spread. So these are like just keeping money flowing in the business. It keeps the guys working, because I also have to choose from what's available to do it. So I'm trying to be mindful of everything. It's not particular. I wouldn't just choose this town. It's not my favorite market, but it does serve a purpose in the overall business that we're building.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like the diversification in a stock portfolio, or stocks and bonds, dividend versus growth stocks, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So the game plan with this one, the inspector came out, he kind of talked to us quickly, and it was funny the way it worked out, because it was actually awesome that she called. She was trying to make it harder on us, but like we just got everything out of the way. He knows that we're about to start working on it right now, and we talked about everything that we can do that's not a permit. So as we're filing for permits, they're not going to be like, oh, why didn't you? We already discussed with him that we're starting work today. So we have siding can go up. It said windows are kind of a borderline, but there's a handful of windows we're going to change. And then it's upstairs, and even though we could potentially have to convert it back to a single family, it still needs to get painted and flooring. So we have maybe 4 weeks of work that we can do while we try to iron out these other things. So we jumped on the siding right away. On the upstairs, there's some squirrels getting in. So we're just going to knock out the soffit and fascia, get everything buttoned up, get the outside sealed up, and then start chipping away at things as we start to get the ball moving forward. And as we're doing this, step 1 is to, as quickly as possible, get that zoning permit through, see what they say about it, and then pivot and adjust from there.
I think that's a pretty solid plan. Cool. I'm excited, and then I would love to come and check this one out with you guys, because it's not too far from home.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It'll be good. It'll be funny to record this and then see how accurate everything turns out. So like we said, it was $45,000 to purchase it. I put my ARV at 140. We're about $8,000 in right now, and that's all the materials that we could purchase that don't need a permit, which are siding, flooring, paint, flashing, and changing windows. And then as the permits come in, it will determine what can happen next. For example, it's metered right now to be there's just one electric, one water, one gas. But depending on what happens next, we'll either have to switch out the utilities, so that could potentially be an expense, or if it does become a single family, it'll just save us from having to do a bunch of work. So that won't necessarily be a bad thing either. Painting the garage and basically just cleaning the place up and cutting down some overgrown trees and things like that.
Dang. Seems like you got another really good one. These multifamilies are being nice to you.
Yeah, it's just a quick walkthrough, and then I get a little bit nervous about some things. There was a leak in the roof at one point that came down through the top floor, got that wet, and then damaged the ceiling of the bottom unit. So it was enough water to get that far through, and we knew about it. He was upfront about it. He's like, we patched the roof. So first day in there, we tore out all the carpets upstairs and stuff, but all the subfloor is good. So like, you don't know exactly what you're getting into, but we've already done a good portion of demo, just ripping things out and seeing what we're actually working with, and we're in really good shape.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, we'll have to connect a little bit after tomorrow. I gotta see what the week looks like at work, and see about coming out. I think that permit we were talking about with the EPA, I think it's going to get pushed back for another 30 days. So I'm okay being out of the office for a little while to go check on some stuff. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of questions now. I think the comps were good. I would like to see it, I guess.
Yeah, it'll help. We'll do a walkthrough in there. I wonder. Give me just a second. I'm gonna upload this to my computer, and then I'll play it for you.
Maybe this one. If it'll show. My camera doesn't like it right now.
Yeah, it keeps blocking it out as a background.
Yeah. There we go. The 5 dysfunctions of a team. So this was actually given to me by an employer that made all their new hires read it. That's a pretty good one too.
Yeah, I love that. Hopefully this will upload quickly. Yeah, one of the soon we're gonna be going over your deal on here. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Man, after talking to that guy, I don't know how this is gonna play out, the house in Morris, but just getting that far in the conversation, it was like when you're playing a video game and you unlock a new perk. Just seeing the possibility, I was like, it's gonna open so many doors. Because I knew it was true, but like even the kind of when we started our conversations, some stuff is theory, and it's scary to try.
Yeah.
But I witnessed it coming from my own mouth, and I was like, okay, now I know that this is gonna open so many doors.
That's a really funny way to put it, like in Skyrim or something when you're.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's funny. Yeah, I think I feel like I had to force the numbers on that one, and so I think it's a little high.
Yeah.
Because he's not asking market rent, I don't think. I didn't really check that, but my intuition is that rent for that property.
No, there's no way. It's got to be like 17. You would have to be closer to.
Yeah, 17 or 18 to justify that asking price. But as an investor, we're looking at these as their ability to produce cash flow at some point, whether that's cash flow to us or cash flow into the business to pay off expenses or whatever. It needs to produce something, and I don't think he can And I don't, maybe I'm just being too nice. I don't want to go in there and just jack rents up and, force the rent up on tenants. I like the idea of having like good, responsible people in a property, even if they are paying a little bit below market rent, because that's less expensive in the long term to keep good people in than it is to keep getting new people that pay full rent but then mess your house up and leave.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's a tough balance for sure.
But if that conversation continues, I would like to push for like a 20K reduction in price.
Yeah, for sure. We'll feel them out and see what we can get to work.
Yeah.
So that's like, this is still the porch essentially. This is the front door for the one unit. Counters and stuff are still kind of in a good. This is a little weird because the tub could really only be a tub because the way the house is. This back bedroom may not even need to get painted. Definitely floors, but that's in pretty good shape. Replace the drop ceiling. So that's one unit, one bedroom. This is front door of the second unit. Basically same layout. This bathroom's the bigger one of the two.
Tub only, no shower, right?
This one actually has a shower, but the other one was tub only.
Was that 2 units or 1 unit?
2 units. So each of the top ones are 1 bedroom, a living room, and a bathroom. But even so, like, we purchased the property, the bottom unit is actually pretty big, and they're paying $700, which they could get a lot more money from that. But I think comfortably $400 or $500 should be pretty easy for one of those 1 bedrooms. I think probably higher, but if you just err on the side of safety. So even with $500, $500, $700, $1,700 coming in for a $90,000 total mortgage on the home, by the time I do all the repairs and the refinance, will cash flow really good. And the one downstairs, when I bought it, I told him that I'll just leave it $700 for as long as reasonable.
Yeah.
We'll give them plenty of time. I mean, slowly over time, we'll raise the rent to what market is, but we'll give them plenty of time. Increments over months and years, because as long as I'm making money, and like, I'd rather have the good tenant.
Yeah. Yeah, if that tenant's good to the property. Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah, so we'll get you over there to see it in person, but it's not going to take much for the inside. For the front room, for like the kitchen, I guess we're just going to do the roll flooring. They're a little bit uneven. That's going to take, a couple hours after we scrape the staples up and slap that down. Then there's 2 rooms that click together flooring. It was like less than 300 square feet. We'll knock that out in a couple hours. Some quarter round paint up there, just paint everything white. Upstairs is going to go quick. A week, maybe 2 weeks. Knock that out. Maybe 3 doing the siding. And then from that point, it's going to be whatever kind of stuff we have going on with utilities.
Have you ever ripped out plaster and replaced it with drywall?
No, I mean, if we can just go over it, it's a messy job.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of house with plaster in them and some that people already put paneling and stuff over the top, but it hasn't come to the point where we have to rip it out yet. But for whatever, as long as it's kind of like when you're dealing with asbestos, if you don't disturb it and you just seal it properly, it'll just be there forever and you don't have to.
Okay, so you put paneling over it?
I haven't, but that's how I would look at it with what I know right now.
Interesting.
whatever, like, for example, for the siding, there'll be houses with like the asbestos shingles on the siding, and you could tear all that stuff off, but to put vinyl siding over the top, it's already sealed and waterproof. It just looks bad.
Yeah.
So you wrap all the windows and the soffit and fascia aluma, put the vinyl siding over the top of it. It looks brand new. Functionally, it's never going to leak, and everything is sealed together and contained now. So, like, anytime that is reasonable, that's like a legit thing to do. You want to avoid doing demo where it's not necessary, because the dumpsters cost you money. It's going to take a bunch of time and labor. Like, you could do a couple layers on the roof, right? If it's one layer of shingles and they're just worn out, but nothing's wrong with the roof, just put a layer of shingles on the top. So, like, if it was bad, then yeah, rip it out and put something. But if nothing's wrong with it, it's just cosmetic, and you can seal it and it will be contained and never move again. That was something that my brother had to help me learn, and it's been a big advantage in moving quickly through some of the houses.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. And we talked a little bit about that before, I think, where you mentioned over renovating, right? And like, we're not living there, but we need to make it livable, but doesn't have to be the, most luxurious rehab.
Yeah, exactly. And for the town, and for Streeter isn't especially like where this type of thing would come into play, because these houses can only be worth so much money. Even like we talked about last week with the 3-bedroom house in Streeter, we put $90,000 into that house. It's only worth $75,000, and that's not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that we can do to boost the value of that house is to put a garage. I see them get around $20,000, but at this point, all the money's in there and it's cash flowing. I'm not even going to change it. I don't think that would boost the rent really, but that would. So in that way, it would actually hurt me, even though the house is worth more money, because I would just be putting more money into the house.
Yeah.
So, not that you want to have a bad house, but these neighborhoods only allow for certain renovations.
Okay.
And that's why it's nice too, because like the inspectors come there, we talk to them, and they understand as well that you can only put so much money into the houses. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to allow us to do anything unsafe, but they're not going to be down our necks. They want us to do the proper stuff. They want us to get the forms. They want to come and check and make sure that we're building things safe. And then for the most part, they're going to leave us alone, because the neighborhood's going to be better than when we got there.
Yeah. Oh, it makes sense.